We begin to the east, where Hurricane Florence continues to bear down on the southeastern United States. Evacuation orders are now in place along the coast of the Carolinas. The storm is expected to bring torrential rain and flooding to communities up and down the eastern seaboard. Florence could make landfall by Thursday. President Trump will be in Shanksville, Pennsylvania today to mark the 17th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. The president will speak at the observance ceremony that's being held at the just opened Flight 93 National Memorial. It honors the 40 passengers and crew members who died when their hijacked plane crashed there. They were among the nearly 3,000 men and women killed on that day. The Montana legislature passed a number of bills last year in an effort to reduce the state's prison population. But a new report out Monday from the Montana office of the American Civil Liberties Union claims probation and parole programs still send too many people to prison and warrant a new review. MTN's Mike Dennison reports.
In Montana, some 8,000 criminal offenders are on probation or parole, meaning they're not in prison but still supervised by the State Department of Corrections. Each year, hundreds of them are sent to prison for violating terms of their release. The American Civil Liberties Union says 75 to 80% of those are for technical violations, such as failing a treatment program or not immediately getting a job.
We're seeing that individuals are set up to fail. There's just these high expectations that individuals can't meet on probation or parole, and they're having strikes against them, and then they're being returned to our prison systems.
The ACLU report released Monday says parolees often can't pay for or get access to treatment programs or even housing that can help them succeed. Nearly 100 people involved in the system answered questionnaires from the ACLU. One of them, Melissa Smiley of Great Falls, spoke to reporters Monday. She said probation and parole officers often stood in her way once she got out of custody rather than help her outside of prison.
Never once did they say, gee, you want to go to college, that's great. They said, you don't get to go to college because you're a felon. You don't get food stamps because your probation officer thinks you should go back to jail.
Smiley eventually got a degree in paralegal studies and is now employed. The report recommends several changes, such as more access to mental health treatment in rural areas and less rigorous rules for certain offenders.
Because so many people who are coming out of prison want to be part of the community again, and they're just faced with so many barriers to doing that.
State Corrections Director Reg Michaels says it would be premature to comment on a report he's not yet read, but that the agency is committed to helping communities in need. While parole and probation programs are run by the State Department of Corrections, most of the proposals by the ACLU are outside the power of the department to fix, like the setting of conditions or funding of treatment programs. It will be up to the legislature to make those policy decisions. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
And Mike tells us some of the reforms passed last year do attempt to shorten the time of supervision for people on probation. A Bozeman man is dead after a crash on the Billings West End, where authorities say one vehicle failed to stop at a stop sign. The crash happened at South 48th Street West and Nybauer Road around 3 p.m. Monday. The Montana Highway Patrol says a green Buick Sabre driven by a 63-year-old Bozeman man ran a stop sign and was struck by a red Ford Escape driving west on Nybauer. Both cars were knocked off the road into a nearby feedlot, with the green passenger car striking a grain silo. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the other car, a woman, was taken to St. Vincent Healthcare with unknown injuries. Drugs, alcohol, and speed are not suspected in the accident. Both parties were wearing their seatbelts. We now have more information on the Sunday afternoon crash that claimed one life in Stillwater County. 57-year-old Vicki Lynn Dillon of Fort Dodge, Iowa, was killed in a single vehicle rollover west of Columbus on Interstate 90. The Montana Highway Patrol says the woman's 2001 Chevrolet minivan rolled up to 5 times after the driver overcorrected when the car drifted off the road and struck a guardrail. The driver was pronounced dead at the scene. An 80-year-old passenger suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Both the driver and passenger were wearing seatbelts. The sheriff of Madison County now faces multiple charges, including 2 felonies after drug evidence went missing. Sheriff Roger Thompson and his team planned a controlled drug buy in June of last year. Heroin, meth, a pipe and lighter were confiscated from an informant working with the department. The items were supposed to be filed as evidence by the sheriff, but court documents state that never happened. Documents go on to say the sheriff never mentioned the drugs in his report, and when questioned by investigators, the sheriff said he had no knowledge of the drugs. Photos of the drugs were taken after the controlled drug buy, and those can now serve as evidence against Thompson. The Madison County Commission is scheduled to meet today, and it's likely they'll consider suspending the sheriff. His felony charges carry a possible 10-year prison sentence. A Billings man is accused of running through police roadblocks at Metro Park during last week's presidential visit. Police say the man was driving drunk. 42-year-old Kelly LaFontaine was booked into the Yellowstone County Jail for DUI and obstruction. Court documents state that 2 Montana Highway Patrol officers were stationed at the Metro Park parking lot. LaFontaine reportedly sped his vehicle around the officers, then continued north onto Bench Boulevard into the upper lot. One of the troopers pursued the suspect with his lights on and sirens deployed. After LaFontaine finally stopped, police say he failed a field sobriety test. He has 6 prior DUI convictions. The Lockwood Fire Department welcomes 11 new reserve firefighters this month, with the hopes of adding 2 more positions in the near future. With the new Lockwood High School and the upcoming Johnson Lane interchange remodel, Lockwood officials anticipate an uptick in calls for service. Fire Chief John Staley says his department is getting ready for additional growth and is looking to buy a new ambulance in the coming months. As far as the tax burden, Staley says voters will not be asked to support a new bond or levy anytime soon. But if growth in Lockwood continues, a second fire station could be needed within 10 years or so. A Minnesota man is recovering after being attacked by a bear Sunday afternoon in the Beartooth Mountains near the Montana-Wyoming border. 48-year-old Bradley Johnson of Plymouth, Minnesota was backpacking with a group of friends when he hiked ahead of them. That's when he said he came upon 2 bears at close range, too close to deploy bear spray. His group alerted authorities and Wyoming's Game and Fish Department responded. The man was flown by helicopter to St. Vincent Healthcare in Billings, where he's receiving treatment for severe injuries to his arm, shoulder, and back. Wyoming Fish and Game is investigating the encounter and had personnel at the attack scene Monday. Yellowstone National Park reports August visitation numbers were 11% lower than in August of last year. Overall, park visitation is down 3% for the year, but still Yellowstone has registered more than 3.1 million visits for the season, about 100,000 fewer than at this same time last year. Park officials say in spite of the slight drop, the park is still very busy, and those who want to visit need to plan ahead, like checking on hotel room and camping spot availability ahead of time in and around the park. With the fall season underway, officials say be sure to check the park website for the latest on weather and road conditions, because they can change quickly this time of year. In Glacier National Park, visitor numbers are down as well. Year-to-date totals are running 500,000 people shy of last year's numbers. While Glacier's visitor numbers have been steady this summer, the pace is off from past few record years. The latest numbers show summer visitors at just over 667,000 people, well below last August's records. That puts Glacier's total visits for the year at 2.3 million people. Last year's record pace saw 2.8 million visitors by the end of August.